Good afternoon. Today is Sunday, February the 5th at 1:15 p.m. exactly. So today we will talking about the chaotic democracy that we have right now in the United States. It seems is it seem has been prepared for a dictatorship. So at one point we elect a president, which is Donald Trump, and he is infatuated with all kind of a dictator of the world like Putin, Kim Jong Un, or Kim Jong Il, and Xi Jinping, and all strongmen in the world. He is infatuated with those guys. So then he has the idea how to be those guys that is untouchable, that can be forever, and let the whole citizen to be shut up, just him that has the voice, or just him that have the business, or just him that take everything, take all for himself. So that was since 2016, we have a very chaotic democracy until now. Even today, that was conditioned for a breeding ground for extremism that will be used later on to hijack and convert them into a dictatorship. So it's a conversion from democracy to be a democratic. So that's the end result. The dictatorship is the end result. Wanna be like Kim Jong Un or Kim Jong Il or Putin. So the success story of this conversion is quite a lot. These are the now Hungarian Viktor Orban and Belarusian Lukashenko and Vladimir Putin himself. Oh, and also Mao Zedong. I mean not Mao Zedong. I'm sorry. Well, he's a dictator too, and Xi Jinping. So Trump want to be like them. So Bolsonaro. So Trump and Bolsonaro is basically almost married, but they fail. Basically, even extremism can use democracy. So we know extremism start from democracy. They participating in democracy like Viktor Orban or Lukashenko, and then when they lost, they denied, and they keep gripping on the power. But Viktor Orban is slightly a decent man. He didn't do that extreme, but he's quite extreme too. So they making basically extremism can use democracy and election as a vehicle to take over power and later on to dismantle it and just use dictatorship only and delete or co-opt the democratic bodies. Sorry, my throat kind of sore. I don't know what happened. To convert it, Trump's first move is to conquering the Supreme Court by backing it up with many strong, committed, extreme few individuals like the Supreme Court. The mostly are male and one female. They were excuse me. They were some kind of educated by the Federalists to take up the mantle. And the federalist here is inject the value from moderate to be an extreme, and they also decided modern value is forbidden for them. The federalists forbidden the modern value, so they want to go back and select the old obsolete values as the new Bibles. So they're gonna use Bibles and all that, but in a wrong way, not like Bible in a godly way. So Bible for political, like the way Trump holding Bible in front of a church by torturing a lot of protesters. So this ridiculousness to go back to the year zero and romanticizing the expired, spoiled, good old days or conservatism is getting more obvious. So how are we racing for a new invention and all the things for more super practicality in the new smart machine if we want to go back to the old typewriter machine? So those antiquated machine and the damn old Supreme Court individuals happen to be very young. That's even surprising, right? And these young people uh, mold the old people like John Roberts to be one of them too. John Roberts used to be fair, stay in the middle, but now he's not moderate. He's going to that side. And of course, Clarence Thomas is because Clarence Thomas' wife, Ginny Thomas, is part of the MAGA diehard. So, well, they have to go through. A tight antiques filter machine called the Federalist that basically keep the antique propaganda alive and still kicking. So let's just call them conservative or resurrectionist, from loving all the things that died to breathe again, or simply just renew or keep polishing the antiques from the prehistoric museum. The resurrectionist here sounds like an evangelist. Well, both are about the same individuals. Even some of them originally come from Catholicism and later on adopt Baptist evangelism. This is some of the Supreme Court. I think a couple of them or three of them originally from Catholic, now they become Baptist evangelist. Those two branches of Christianity are only different by Catholic always decide what is new and can be adopted, like LGBTQ through Vatican councils, while the evangelists love to go back in time to preserve the majority people from the olden days only, that has only known a man and a woman. There's no such thing for them, an LGBT. So LGBT was just a small number that has been denied the existence, as no social media exists yet to cover this in the year zero. So this is not a subject by then. While modern day rapid leap development, including social media, has been keeping the LGBTQ present as a fresh and each newer and newest wave of showmanship. So it shows in the TV, in the showmanship, or in a comedy. So it's more intensified. So that's how we know and educated about LGBTQ, not like the conservative. So free and so crazy that this minority in sex like George Santos, the drag queen, and a minority. So the drag queen George Santos and minority race like Kanye West, excuse me, and other could split from their identity and affiliate themselves with super male chauvinist Republican. So Kanye could be so happy in super white racist MAGA Republican. Here is the picture of freedom and democracy could open up all kind of option that is so out of whack. Luckily, it is just a minor number of people that went cross-border without hesitation. So we were just wondering why George Santos and Kanye West choose the wrong crowd. Somehow, those cross-border are tired of being minority and want to just be free, fly away, or just bury their minority identity altogether and move on with their delusional ideal super white male race that is not in them at all. Luckily, in the small numbers, they are making the scene as an obvious, interesting, shining object to justify or excusing themselves as not so super white, super white male racist party, but it's an excuse for Republicans to accept them. That way, they can show that they're not super white male party racist, but a little bit, a very little notch of rainbow. So they put some rainbow color on it. That way, Republican is not so extreme, but actually still extreme. Or this cross border, I just love the idea of Stockholm syndrome, which is love the abuser. They love and infatuated with their super white male racist party. Vice versa, the party love this new shining object and always like to touch them, feel them, or feel the diamond on the mud. So they like shiny diamond on the mud because very rare to find them in a Republican Party. After backing the court, um, the they also framed the lower court to be packed with a lot of extremists to defend the extreme or building a dictatorship infrastructures. They rapidly go after the judicial and election board or each of the secretary of state. There is the head of the election board. Unluckily, not all of them was getting along or supporting the idea of building a dictatorship country. We see like the one in Arizona, the head of election, he just refused. Or the state of Georgia also refused Trump call to overturn the election. This almost success as planned, um, like when they appoint a lower court in Florida a judge that defending Trump. So the effect until now, they still have the judge that will defend Trump in Florida and keeping a lot of classified and sensitive materials to Donald Trump, not to surrender to the state where the document belong to. Or the election official in Mississippi who allowed a hacker to get a hand on the voting machine on CCTV. So this judicial branch has been compromised as a way to transform a democracy to a dictatorship. And the judicial legislative branch also start being packed with extreme individuals. The agenda is converting democracy to a dictatorship. and many of them elected by mostly extreme voters. To get their votes, this Marjorie Taylor or Gates or Bobert are very actively making many conspiracy theories and flooded the social media with this propaganda of lies or conspiracy theories. For for us normal people, cabal, Jewish, Jewish lasers, and JFK resurrections from the dead sound so nonsense, sound so ridiculous, out of whack, crazy. These crazy, extreme, delusional congressmen and congresswomen prevail because they use religion or Bible or evangelist platform um, or the controversy of the cornering Omar for speaking, Ilham Omar, a congresswoman that originally from Ethiopia, migrated to the US, so she's a black congresswoman. So they're limiting or cornering Omar from speaking up to tell a painful truth about Israel and not as an anti-Semite compared to their extreme white racist chant Jewish will not replace us when they marching down on the street and they kill a woman right there. So who is more obvious as an anti-Semite, themselves or Omar? Other freedom of other freedom of congregates is also disrupted when Republican Party stripping the delegation of states like Adam Smith, Eric Swalwell, and the member of the squad without wrongdoing, but just simply a retaliation. So here's another form of limiting speech as they try to choke them from representing their state that elect them legally. They want it, they should be heard, they should um, deserve a seat to represent their state, but they're not. They choke them. The echo sounds of confusing or idiotic or illogical is getting louder by the day. However, if we keep on repeating this stupid illogical statement, we might want to believe it for ourselves and turn us into extremists, like this extreme voter that elect Marjorie Taylor Greene. So they're ready to change the voter are ready to change the democratic system into dictatorship. They want it. So they can keep on glorify this conspiracy theory and become a follower of these extreme people. So because the fact and logical thinking does not matter anymore. They just use belief instead of rational or logical. They have believed in these conspiracies too deep. Another part that they did is to promise this cult theory believer in the executive branch. This will lemon the most important part of dictatorship infrastructure. So if they could co-opt the executive branch, that is the most important thing in building the dictatorship infrastructures. These are the outrageous governors that do that, like DeSantis or Greg Abbott, Trump cabinet ministers, Homeland Security, until the Justice Department that dismissed all the lawsuit against Trump. So Trump can still practice the dictatorship. The post office general that tried to stop mail-in ballot but failed, or who knows, because I'm not sure what's the result of him try to prevent the mail-in ballot. The EPA and Consumers Protection Bureau that traded protection to environment or to citizen with extreme party donor or bribes. The FEMA that punished a disaster victim in Puerto Rico and used them for corruption by zingy government contract. These are all non-democratic dictatorship practices that will help to create chaos as a reason for dictatorship. So like the PPE for the pandemic funding also went missing just to fund these conspiracy theorist people. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she took millions dollars of PPE loan and never returned it because PPE loan means to keep. And there is no accountability, so it's something wrong here. So is Donald Trump also took the PPE loan. But most people, they don't take PPE loan. Most poor people, they don't take $1,000,000, not even $1,000 of PPE loan. So this is how ridiculous the poor people always be tricked and take advantage. And they tell people that they're on them, they represent them, but actually they steal from them. More incentive propaganda and conspiracy theory by Fox News. So Fox News pushing this agenda of conspiracy theory and dictatorship, like Fox News being praised in Hungarian, in Belarusian, in Russia, and also sometimes Fox News as inspiration for a talking point by Putin and Viktor Orban or Lukashenko. So Fox News and other kind of news, but not news actually, propaganda, made up all this news, and they claim it as a news channel, just as important part in building this dictatorship infrastructures. So Fox News play a major role in this, like OAN or One America also. And also the Pillow Guy. The Pillow Guy also play a major role in this dictatorship infrastructure. So the most famous one is Hannity or Tucker Carlson, who are pushing around Republican Party and finally to go extreme, or they will suffer a major humiliation on Republican-based TV on display. So they could bully senators, they can bully congressmen, congresswomen to just accept their agenda, the Fox News talking point or conspiracy theory. And they will order them, and also in cooperation with Donald Trump, they will push them out. And a lot of senators and congressmen becoming a victim for no reason. So who can stand it? Who can survive a Fox News humiliation? Most likely none. They all went away. Converting all businessmen into this cult also another important part to build this dictatorship infrastructures. So they consider all of this part, and then they will integrate it into making a dictatorship. Since they are the businessmen, since they are the donors of all craziness or crazy about wanting to have a dictatorship, um, actually it's not healthy for the business environment, because then they pick and choose, and then when they pick a guy to to bankrupt or to reap the dictatorship, it just by a hunch whatever the dictator said. So there's no fair play. Yeah, converting businessmen into this cult also another important part, since they are the donors of all craziness or crazy about wanting to have a dictatorship. In this business atmosphere, the most closest to Trump is the most beneficial compared to distant donors who never take the opportunity in favoritism. So there you go. Only the person who close to Trump will be the favorite guy. However, if we just play fair, so let's take another stance. Let's say we play fair, a fair politics, or a fair business practices will certainly more desirable compared to dictators' erratic behavior. We never know if a dictator at one time will pick on you or not. There is no fairness in this dictatorship. So everybody and every businessman need to play fair. That only can be established in a democratic system. We must refuse to support a dictators, as it will be a problem for anyone or everyone in the futures. So not only anyone but everyone will take the fall, as the country will be ruined, crumble, because dictatorship will steal everything for themselves. So how are they not realizing until at this moment that they're building it, that they try as hard as they could to build a dictatorship? It's just mind boggling that we have so far a constitution, we have so far a fair democratic system, and always want to hack it, and always want to change it, and always play unfair. It was started from like gerrymandering, and now it's more blatant, obvious move. They even have a strategy to achieve it, as we see its play on McCarthy speakership vote. So, and the afterward, the falling after the vote, that now they retaliate to each whoever they don't like. So it's not fair because it's semi-dictatorship already in the Congress. So U.S. Congress is semi-dictatorship. This McCarthy needs to realize this is not healthy for him. Anytime he could be a victim. So anyone in the Republican Party as a congressman or congresswoman, you are not safe either, because there is no fair play, there is no accountability. You just play crazy. So how could it be sustained? As a great nation, is this what you want? Is this what we want? And also to the voters, is this what you guys want? A chaotic, a dictatorship? Like this guy. What's the difference between this Chansley and Chansley is the guy that stand like McCarthy. So now usually McCarthy stand up like that, but this time is Chansley. He's the shaman, or he wants to be a shaman. I guess McCarthy want to be shaman too. Do whatever he likes without rule and ethical and polite policy. It just rude, everything rude, everything just dictatorship. Basically, McCarthy need to wake up, and Democrat also need to play along with the way the Republican play in Congress. Like, why not Democratic Party support McCarthy and took all the chairman of committee instead of surrendering it to the hard extremism congresswoman, congressman. Why? So I guess we need to play a smart politics. That way it could play out the way we want it. Otherwise, everybody try to harden on each corner, harden on each side. You're not trying to play smart politics, because politics basically a play out of friend and foe all together, mixture. So now Congressman Jeffrey, who is the minority leader, is he happy having 100? I think he has 113 vote, while McCarthy took 120 vote, so only 7 vote different. Minus George Sanders now, it become more limited. Like before was 7 vote different, now 6 vote different. And then if 6 Republicans retired, what will happen? So anyway, everybody need to play smart, play smooth. That way, such a thing will never happen. Like the debt crisis, debt limit crisis. Right now, it's already the budget for the debt limit is already overdue since last week, and nobody work on it. It seems they don't care. So is this a business people want it to be, by keep funding them, keep funding this extremism that want to destroy the country, destroy their own business? It sounds ridiculous. So everybody just need to grow up and be mature, and like the Congress before. So not like chaotic like this. It can be more humanity, it can be more friendship instead of foes like this. Well, hope you don't get bored with my speech, and I will end this speech, and thank you for listening or watching it. I might slightly bias into Democratic, because I'm a Democratic defender people, one of the Democratic defenders. I love fairness, and I love this country to be better, not chaotic. Thank you once again, and catch you later with my next topic of discussion, mostly around democracy. Thank you. Goodbye.